Hello, dear viewers. Welcome back to Let's Play Dungeon Crawl Stone Soup. This is Creepy Gorgosh. He's a conjurer and follows Vehumet, one of my favorite gods for conjurers. The god of blasty magics. Destructive magics, I guess, is the official title, but I prefer blasty spells. Ooh, a Hydra, huh? An 8-headed Hydra? We didn't have too much trouble with the last one, though. Let us still be, reasonable about it. Yeah, we're fine. Spellcasting is at level 10, hey? We have 4 spell levels. 4 seems fine. What's our mana like? 31? I'm okay with keeping this training spread, actually. I might even do this. Yeah, I like that. Fire magic, I really want Firestorm to be castable pretty much right away. I really want to cast that spell. That's my primary goal. Like, my ultimate goal is to beat a Ziggurat with this character. I'm dreaming big. Dreaming real big. But sort of part 1 of that mission is the first objective is to cast Firestorm. I think if I can do that, I'm probably in a good place. I know that, I blathered around attacking things with melee weapons for a really long time with the last character that I ended up very deep in the endgame with whom I ended up very deep in the endgame. And even with some big disadvantages, like the instant that we were able to cast Tornado, which isn't even quite as powerful as Firestorm, it's still incredibly powerful, but the instant that we were able to cast Tornado, we just got really strong. Too big for our own britches, in fact. But that's another story. We are reaching our carrying capacity, which is a shame. I'd kind of like a bolt spell. I hope Vehumet gives me Bolt of Fire as my next spell. I think that we would be fine casting a level 6 spell. Yeah, we would be just fine. A level 6 Fire and Conjuration spell. It might be a little tricky, but we'd get there quickly. Especially now that we're focusing fire a little bit more. Yeah, this ought to be alright. We'll get up the Battlesphere. The Battlesphere is just really good. Very strong, very reliable. Once you get it up to around where we have it, which is about 2 pips from being maxed out, it lasts a long time and it does a lot of damage. And that's just a good place to be. It is still single target, so, you can't get too crazy. You can't let yourself get completely surrounded, for example. That's still very bad. Ah, there's the slime pits. We actually can venture into the slime pits sooner than melee characters could. Because we don't have to be in sliming range of the slimes all the time. Though acid blobs are kind of hard to avoid being slimed by them. But yeah, not all of our equipment will have to be artifacts before we... Bolt of Draining. Oh, that's interesting. I believe that's necromantic magic, yeah. Do we want to branch out into necromancy? I kind of think we should. Because Bolt of Draining is going to be strong through the layer. It's going to be quite strong through the last couple of levels of this, and in Spider's Nest and Swamp, for the most part. There might be a few things in Swamp that it doesn't really affect, but we're still fine on that. We don't want to spread ourselves too thin, but in case we come across the Necronomicon in good order, or if we want to like switch to Kikobakudka after, like, as a late game god choice, I don't know. I'm kind of trying to talk myself into it. It is level 5 instead of level 6, which is a point in its favor, and I guess because we can get rid of it late game when it's not good anymore and regain 5 spell levels. I think that's fine. Yeah. So as soon as we gain a character level or a level of spellcasting, we will memorize that, presuming that it is still an option. Huh. Oh. I wonder if the dazzling spray... Ah, it does work on jellies. It's kind of hard for me to tell if jellies have eyes, so I didn't know if it would be... I guess they are presumably at least photosensitive, and so mystical, powerful, damaging energies could throw off their sensory input whatevers. I don't know. Book of Control. What else do we want anything else from this Book of Control? Like, ever? Control Undead, conceivably. Meh. We'll carry it around, but it'll be one of the first things we drop. With books, I mean, although this particular level wouldn't be the best place to drop a book, since the Slime Pits is here, and, you know, they might crawl out of the pits. Ooze out of the pits. Ooh, lindworms. Well, that's fine. We can actually cheat this a little bit, I think. Because we can fireball further than our... Oh. Maybe. I was about to say we could fireball out of our line of sight. But I don't know if that's quite true. We can summon this. I think their breath is limited. Yeah, I don't think they can do anything to us. This is a cool little... I've seen this vault before, and it's really neat. That we're not a melee character for it. Yeah. We can just safely pelt these lindworms from all the way over here, and because we happen to find a book that contained flight, yeah, we're doing just fine. Just blasting away with fireballs. Oh, yikes. I guess it did manage to reach us. Ow. Well, we'll stand further away next time. Whoa, 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 whoa. Just regen a little bit of mana. I am kind of glad that we didn't get the mana shield mutation this time. On one hand, it's a little nice because it can... The second level of it causes you to regen mana rapidly, which can be clutch when you're low on mana. The problem is you also... You also lose mana at exactly the wrong time. You know, when you're taking damage is when you want mana most. We don't need no stinking earth stuff. What is this staff? Oh. What are you? Staff of poison. Meh. This kind of staff is one reason to put points into evocation, even as a caster. Gives you a melee option while wielding a potent spell thingy. but we have no need of it. We're not using poison magic pretty much ever. And having no spell hunger on anything is, ooh, yikes, making me incautious. I will put my Ring of Protection back on. That seems wise. Taking a couple steps away just to make sure that it doesn't accidentally, like, run into me and attack me. I'll get rid of these Wands of Slowing and Frost. Fireball, I guess I'll keep for a rainy day. I don't even feel the need to really transport those to my stash or anything. Not really relevant. Okay, I don't want to run out of mana like I did last time with these guys. So be a little more cautious with the dazzling sprays. Okay, yeah, that's fine. We have a decent amount of staying power. I think we are weaker. Yeah, we are definitely weaker to a few large enemies than we are to several small enemies. Like, we're not worried about getting swarmed. We are worried about having to face a lot of chunky things in a row. Things with a large number of hit die. Big butt. Okay, layer 8. A lot of, like, the walkthrough on the Crawl Wiki site and a lot of character guides will advise that you don't do layer 8 right away, that you save it until you've cleared out some of the early branch stuff. I like to go ahead and do it because I don't know, I'm greedy. I want the treasure that is potentially at the bottom of the layer. But more than that, I like the experience spike that it gives you before the branches. I think that all 4 of the layer branches, the snake pits / spider's nest, and the shoals / swamps, are much harder now than they used to be. They've added a bunch of different scary monsters that sort of spread out the resistances that you need. I don't know. Those are harder now, and so I think it's more viable to. It's more reasonable to attempt layer 8 before tackling those than it used to be, in my mind. And maybe I'm doing it wrong. Maybe this is just a purely needless risk. I don't know why I cast Shock there particularly, although it is probably stronger than Magic Dart. I mean, if for no other reason than it penetrates through and could thus hit multiple critters. Yeah. So really any living thing is affected by the Dazzling Spray. That's quite convenient. Can we memorize our Bolt of Draining yet? No. Okay. La-di-da-da, ba-ba-da-bow. Ba-ba-ba-da-bow. Yow-bow-bow. Yeah, this Dazzling Spray is quite good against these masses of enemies. In part because the more critters that we zap, the more chances we get for the Vehumet mana return, blood magic to function. I guess we can just... Oh, hello. We can just eat all of the critter flesh. Amulet of the Gourmand is really nice to have in the lair. You just never have to worry about hunger. And I mean, we wouldn't really anyway, because of our Staff of Energy here. But if, you know, Like if we need to switch back to that halberd in a sticky situation, for example, if we are out of mana, that'll be nice to have. And if we encounter, I don't know, black dragons, shadow dragons, in some weird twist of random number generation, you don't normally find those things in the lair. Yeah, getting that fire drake confused and blinded was pretty key. I feel like I've been really missing out by not memorizing Dazzling Spray all this time. In 0.15, it is also replacing invisibility in the Enchanter's spellbook, starting spellbook, which I think is a fine change. I've never really liked invisibility as an effect. It's hard to get a hold of and to use early on, but early on is the only time where it's effective. By the time you are done with the layer, really by the time you get into the various branches, you no longer gain anything from going invisible. Like the orc mines, I guess, are also a good place to have it, but okay. Yeah, it took a long time to blind that guy. I think we're going to fire off a controlled teleport here. I'm not incredibly concerned about using teleportation scrolls. I mean, they're cheap. They're one of the easiest scrolls to find. And there are many, there are numerous other sources of teleportation, wands and such, that we will find. Ah, here we go. Okay. Yeah, it says expect minor deviation, so it probably won't be to the exact spot. Oh, well, wasn't anywhere near the exact spot, but at least it somewhat... It teleported us in the right general direction. Yeah, that's what we'll call it. Oh, um, the incunabulum, the incunabulum of quantum talismans, the incunabulum of quantum talismans. Looks bad, although I do like that it has repel missiles. What does disjunction do exactly? Oh, it causes things to be blinked. Basically makes you immune to melee for a little bit. Meh. Not super enthused by it. What is our spell power? Our spell power on that is pretty low, isn't it? Okay, so we don't need anything in here. We will just go ahead and drop this. We don't need to haul it back to our stash. This we're still going to hang on to because of that control undead. I like what it's doing with that. I think that area where we encountered all those elephants and things is probably the sort of vault-type ending of the layer. An elephant vault. I went to the animal fair. The birds and the beasts were there. The great baboon by the light of the moon was combing his golden hair. Curare is going to be fine if we ever find a blowgun and decide to use it, which is highly unlikely. Again, it's all poison effects, which falls off really sharply late game, although I think they're going to do something to it. They're going to redo a lot of ranged combat in general in 0.15. All of the main ranged weapons are going to function much more similarly um, to how melee weapons currently work, which is nice. Another reason why I like Vehumet is because he doesn't come with any abilities, and I know that is, of course, a double-edged sword because you don't get any god abilities, but it's one fewer thing to keep track of when I already tend to lose track of things playing a caster. So it's nice to look back on a play session and think, okay, well, I didn't fail to use the god ability that would have saved my life 30 times. Sometimes it really is unavoidable. You just get yourself in too deep. Like, if you go too deep in a ziggurat, it will just kill you. I have learned a little bit more about ziggurats. I have experienced their wrath firsthand now. And they're rough. They are not for the faint of heart. Nay, nor for the weak. Alright. Here, I kind of feel okay, just sort of tempting fate here a bit. Yeah, we gained power from killing. That's kind of what I was looking for. Yeah. And, you know, this is a +3/+3 halberd, so can do, in theory, up to 16 damage. So not bad. I mean, we had plenty of options should that have gone sour, is really why. I was just wanting to save consumables and whatnot. I mean, we could have used any number of consumables there to make that a guaranteed win, essentially, instead of taking the somewhat of a risk that we did. This could also be up ahead. This foresty area could be sort of a vault type ending. Yeah, it is. Dazzling Spray seems good in this situation. If you lose track of your battle sphere, never fear to resummon it. Even if it hasn't expired, it'll just add strength to the spell. It'll extend the duration. Oh, it's this ending. Okay. Again, I think Dazzling Spray will be quite effective. Though, we are more susceptible to this as a caster than as a melee character, I believe. We have a lower armor class overall. Than we would if we were a melee type person. And or evasion. Okay. That was not hard. Definitely not the worst. Presumably a good chunk of piety. Cool. I can memorize Bolt of Draining. I think I will. Oh. Well, apparently I won't right away. Got my fingers tangled up there. Okay. Yes. And let's reassign that to D. That seems like a perfectly reasonable. Oh, we've been using Dazzling Spray on that. Never mind. Bolt of Draining. We'll put it on N for Necromancy, to remind us to train Necromancy if we want. To remind us that that's an option. Okay. Yeah, because I don't feel a strong urge to put points into Necromancy yet. But if we're pulled in that direction, we can now. You can't put points into a school until you have a spell of that school. You can't memorize spells at all if you don't have any spellcasting skill. But all characters can train spellcasting, even though it starts at 0. That didn't used to be the case. It used to be... It seemed virtually impossible to... Ooh, this is actually kind of scary. Oh, hey, our antennae got longer. Yeah, anything that we have to worry about? Maybe. Antennae level 2. Okay. When it gets to level 3, it'll be really neat. Okay, so let's control teleport. Yikes. We are getting hit a lot, actually, by something. Oh, the Spriggan Raider hitting us from afar with a spear. Well, this seems appropriate to chug some potions, I guess. Ugh. This is really scary. Oh, no. Oh, well, dear viewers. I'm sorry. I was too brash with this layer 8. Maybe this is why you should do the branches, the early branch levels first. Well, that's too bad. I felt like we were reasonably strong, but we could have been stronger. We did have a potion of beneficial mutation that would have been nice to drink, but that was fine. This was a reasonably successful run. I don't feel awful about it. I feel a little silly for dying there. It's been a long time since I've died on layer 8. But then, it's been a long time since I've played a caster. This is a good lesson for me. I am not invincible by any means. So thanks for watching, and we'll probably do another caster type next time. I really like the cool Demonspawn mutations. It's just very fun for me to see what interesting stuff you'll get. And, there's strong mutations, too. None of them are worthless by any means. But I've been really tempted to go back to gargoyles again. Because they kind of feel like you start with maxed out Demonspawn mutations. Sort of. I mean, there are just so many benefits that gargoyles have. They do suffer from a dearth of hit points, but they are immune to poison, immune to rotting, resistant to torment. They can fly eventually. They have built-in armor class that eventually gives you like a plus 20 bonus at level 27. Just for free, immune to poisonous clouds, immune to clouds of any sort you don't breathe. Just tons of stuff. Oh, and resistance to regular negative energy, not in addition to the torment resistance. Yeah, they're just awesome. I have yet to get one out of the early stages of the game as a caster, but I've had some good successes with melee-type characters. Maybe I'll do a hybrid. I don't know. But anyway, thanks for watching. This was a fun run, regardless of my sudden end. See you next time.